Hello everyone. Here to record another evaluation video. Oh, getting started. I want to first. I have a few things to talk about, but first I want to talk about the progress that I'm making with on my site with my written work. Um, I've made a bit of I made a bit more progress um, on my site this week. Last week I mostly just talked about the results of the pitch of the FMP pitch and the feedback I got from it and what happened and how I felt about it and what I was gonna do. But this week I've kind of done a bit more site work to try and fill up the site a bit more. Starting off with the contact page, um, I've of course did the proposal. I added my proposal for my FMP idea. I added that in last week because with my presentation. I also did a SWOT analysis for this project as well, talking about my strengths and weaknesses and the opportunities and threats that I could face during this project, or the opportunities I could gain from doing this project. The main reason I did this was because I did the same thing last year, and I just thought it would be a good idea to keep up with this skill and um, to remember how to do it and why it's important. Well, doing it again kind of reminded me of how useful it can be to have to think about it and have an overview of how how the project could go, or what the overall my overall, I wouldn't say feelings towards but it's a good opportunity to examine my strengths and weaknesses is before getting into the project. But it's also kind of interesting to do it again because I feel like I have improved from the last time I did a SWOT analysis, which was last year during last year's FMP. So, and I do feel like I've improved a lot, and it was a lot easier to make this one this year. To think about to evaluate. It was a lot easier to evaluate myself this year. That's the point I guess I'm trying to get across. It's a lot easier to um think about my strengths and weaknesses. The next, I did a mind map talking about how I arrived at my idea and the other ideas that I came up with that led to the final idea. Considering that I haven't had to do a mind map in a while, the last time I think I did a mind map was for my FMP. I don't remember doing it for the last project I worked on, which was the team project. But I almost forgot about it. I forgot about doing making one because of it's been a long time. It's been a while since I've had to do one, and it's a good job that I looked over the checklist to I looked over the checklist to remind myself of what I needed to do. Oh, but making this mind map was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be because because I had to try and remember what my thought process was and how I came to my ideas and how I arrived at my ideas. And originally, I was gonna go into a bit more detail, as into why I didn't rejected certain ideas and why I kept other ones. But I thought I would be going a bit overboard, and so I just kind of kept it simple and mentioned that the ideas that didn't go forward was I didn't do because I felt like they would be too difficult to make, and especially in the time that we have. Now, what I mean by going into a bit more detail was that not so much I wasn't going to talk about why I didn't do them, but as in I was going to talk about each idea I had and talk about each rejected idea and why I didn't do it. But I thought that would be, as I said, that would be going overboard. And basically, they would all have the same answer. Of that, I didn't think that I would be able to do one. I didn't think I'd have the skill to do it, and I didn't think I'd have the time to do it. Right, so just doing that, just saying that, I think would be is good enough. Of okay, oh, sorry. But now that I have done it, and now that it is finished, I am very happy that I've done it. I'm very happy with how it's come out and how it looks, because I think it is. I think does make a nice um, uh, plan, a nice record, if you will, of my thought process and how um, my thought process and how as I said, how I arrived at my ideas is I did think about using no, what's it called? Not Trello. It's the other one. I did. I did think about using the Miro the board or the Miro the application that I used in my last project to make the team mood board. I did think about using that program to make this mind map, but I thought that there was a lot of not not overcomplicated, but there was a lot of um, features in it I didn't really need or didn't think that I wanted to keep the map as simple as possible, and as what's the word, direct as possible. So I went back to the the same website I used last year, the last FMP, the bubble.us because I think that's the best way of making making a mind map, because I think it's so simple and easy, yeah, and it doesn't need anything else also, and I really I'm happy that I made that choice. I made that decision, and because I think it looks a lot better now anyway. Moving on, I also talked about my timeline or my schedule for the project. Now, originally, I was going to make a oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Originally, I was going to make a Trello board, and I was going to list I was going to list all the uh, um come on. And now I already made. Originally, I was going to make a. Well, I've already made, as you can see, I've already made the Trello board, and this way, but I was also going to add a schedule, a timetable of the project and what tasks I was gonna do each week. The main reason I was going to do the timetable, the schedule here, was because I didn't think I'd be able to use the action plan that I used in the proposal, but now that I can, and I decided to use that instead because I think that's the best example that I've made of a action plan. That's the most detailed action plan that I've made so far. But I was originally still planning on adding the Trello board to my site, right? But I was thinking about it, and basically, the oh, whoops. Originally, I wasn't planning to add the Trello board to the site because I felt like, cause I made this checklist for the project, this checklist to account for each task I have to do or each subject I have to add, and I felt like the Trello board kind of did the same thing, and so I felt like basic both of them did the same job, and so I didn't need one. I could only need one, and I didn't need to talk about the other. But now that I think about it, I think it would still be a good idea, still be relevant to add the Trello board to the site, right? Because as I think the checklist is great for having an overall view of how my progress of the FMP of the project and how many subjects I've completed and how many more I have to do. But I think maybe I have to keep the Trello board because I can be a bit more specific about each task. I forgot you can go into each task and write descriptions and write checklists for each task. So yes, no, I've changed my mind and I'm going to be including the Trello board into the site. Right? So I'll be adding the Trello board as well, in addition to the timetable. Um, I've also talked about the checklist and talked about how I'm using it in the same way that I did in the last project, in the team project, to tick off each subject that I've completed. And then I got now and then I got into the target audience and slash the Peggy rating for my project. Now, unfortunately, in my pitch, I don't think I wasn't very specific about the target audience for my project. Like I was very vague and just kind of said, oh, people who like sci-fi or who will enjoy this this project or enjoy the model that I'm making, but I wouldn't go into specifics about like what kind of people would like this. Would it be men, women, teenagers, adults? I didn't kind of elaborate, go into more detail. So I talked about this last week when I talked about my pitch, but Aisha explained how, of course, every project apart this in this FMP needs to have a PEGI rating and needs to have an audience, because all these project would be used in something, and in my case it would be a game, and the game would have legally need to have a age rating attached to it. So unfortunately I haven't really got a good target audience in the pitch. So what Aisha suggested was that I look into games that have the same kind of in the same genre or have the same style, and look at what their target audience is and what their PEGI ratings are. And so that's what I did. Took her advice and said that the big inspiration for the project was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Halo. And that that those games are made for people, or made for older people, made for adults, because they're very mature and violent, and so not something kids or younger people should see, not something younger people would understand either. So I just said that taking the age ratings for both of these games, and saying that the age range would be between 16 to 18 year old, that would be a good age range for my FMP. Now I was a bit confused yesterday, because I would have thought that researching into target audiences or into PEGI ratings would be go under the research tab of the site, right? But I asked Rob about it yesterday, and he said that what I talk about here, what I do on this page, is I give an example. I give my best guess for what the age rating would be, for my project, and then later on in the research section I go into a bit more detail. So, for example, if I said that my game that my FM that the audience for my FMP would be oh, sorry. If I said that the audience for my FMP would be older people or adults, like who the kind of people who play Infinite Warfare, then I'd go into a bit more detail, and I'd look into what is the target audience for COD, what is the target audience for Halo, and it go and that's how I understood it. That's how I understood what he was saying. But even now I'm not completely sure. So I'm planning to do is I'm planning to ask him next week, and to get his opinion, and whether I'm doing the right thing, whether I'm seeing it the right way, or if I need to change anything. And so that's all. And I've made a reference section, so this is where all the references are gonna go, or the websites that I use in this project. I haven't started the secondary research yet, so this part remains empty for now. But moving on to research, for my primary research, I've talked about my prototype. I've talked about what I learned in the prototype, and some of the problems that could arise, and I've talked about ways I could solve those problems, and ways that I could I could make the project basically. Yeah, and how useful the doing the prototype was, and doing the prototype was very useful because it enabled me to it's got me started to think about how I'm actually going to make this room. It's got how I'm going to make this environment, and as in, am I going to? Because while I was making the environment, and hang on, maybe it's probably better if I give a small demonstration. But when I was making the when I was making this room, I found it very hard to move the camera around and try and get a good view of the whole room. I found it very difficult to, especially considering the other items I need to add into this room. I find it very difficult at how I would be able to. I got to thinking what would be the best way to populate the room, to get the to get the assets I need into the room, without making without oh sorry, making a mess. As in kind of overcomplicating things. And one of the things I thought about was it would probably be a better idea to make each asset for the room outside of this space. Outside of the space, and then when it's finished, then move it into the room, one by one, piece by piece. And I think by the time I've done all that, I think it would be populated in the way that I want it to be, or looking the way I want it to look. I also talked about how how would it be better to make the room. Would it be better to have, because for this prototype, all the walls are the same object, like, and so if I was to add a texture onto it, it would go across the whole wall. But the problem with doing this is that the bigger the object, it can kind of stretch the texture, and so it doesn't look as good. And so would it be better to have the four walls be separate objects so that the texture looks better? Now that's something I talked about. I also talked about how difficult it was getting the cameras here. You get a better view. Getting the cameras in the right place. Oh, sorry. Getting the cameras in the right places without them going into the wall. And I also talked about how I come across a problem where, because you can press 0 and you can see through that camera, but unfortunately for some reason I've got two cameras set up at the moment, but I'm only able to see out of one of those cameras, and so I need to find a way to see out of the other camera as well. And I have I think I found a video that can help me with that, but I just haven't written about it or talked about it yet. But I think I think I found a video to help me with that. And I'll be talking about that when I start modeling, when I start the process. Yes. As you can see, I've also done. added the small hallway outside of the door. The main reason I added this was because I asked it in my survey, and I asked if people would want to see it, if that's something they'd be interested in, and they said yes. And so I made, as part of the prototyping process, I made this as well, or added this part as well, to see how well it would work and if it could be done. But as I said, I've said in my survey, the feedback from my survey was that I will only make the hallway extension if I have the time to. But my main objective, my main goal is to, of course, make the room itself, the outside, the hallway is like a bonus, if you will. Not at the forefront of my mind at the moment. It's just this is just an idea to see if it would work and how well it would work. That's all. So yeah, that's what I talked about in my prototyping. That's what I've written about in my prototyping section here. I've also done my survey, sent it out, and got all the questions back and all the responses back, and I've all talked about each question and why I asked it, and whether the information I got was useful or not. Overall, I'm very happy with the information I got from this survey, as a lot of people liked my idea. A lot of people were supportive of my idea, saying that I could make it, that I could get it done in time. Most of the people I asked said that it was a good idea. Uh, Although I didn't always get the answers or the results that I was hoping for, uh, like in this instance, I asked, cause I found out there were different subsections of sci-fi, and once I found that out, I was interested to find out what would be people's favorites. It's um. And the reason I asked this was because I was thinking if there was any qualities about those things that I could add to my project, and I was very surprised to find out that people, one of the if you look here, one of those was like the post-apocalypse genre, and that was a clear winner. That was a clear um, winner. Everybody liked it. And I found that very interesting, because the whole idea of that genre, the post-apocalypse, is that there's not a lot of technology, there's not a lot of, shall we say, futuristic technology. So seeing that answer, I kind of thought that maybe the my class, the people that I asked, were not interested in um, advanced technology sci-fi, if you will, like huge advancements in technology, yeah, because and so, I said, and the way, I suppose, the way I would accommodate for that would maybe not add so many, or not how do I put this, not make the office look so advanced, not make it look so alien, if you will. That's the right word to use. Who's to make, as in keep it grounded, keep it realistic is kind of where I'm going. Add a small a bit of technology, small bit of sci-fi to it, but kind of overall keep it grounded is what I was thinking anyway. Well, that was my what I took away from this answer. I asked some, as well as the questions about my sketches and my initial ideas. I also asked for um, some advice. So like, um, what would you like to see in the office? Because at the time I was doing this survey, I was still thinking about what I could add to the room, to make it look better, to make it add. And so people have come up with some good suggestions and for what I could add, but I think a lot of them are just kind of too much, or not what's the word? Not too much, but out of my depth, if you will. Oh, and a lot of them, but also some of them are things very simple, like pieces of paper, computer, and things like that. So those things are good suggestions, but sometimes, but some of the things people said was a bit too much to do in the time that I have. But also, I asked about what they thought about my sketches, my initial sketches of the office, of the room. And some people were gave good answers. Like this one, but they said it was too cramped and said it was too small. And said that it was a bit bare. And I explained that I wanted to keep the room, the basic idea for the room simple, digestible, if you will, as in, because I still have to make this. I don't want to make anything too big or too complicated or too grand, and because of course there's no way I'd be able to do it. So that's the reason it may look small and may look like there's not a lot there. I just want to keep things what's the word? In scale. I not the right word. But I want to keep things basic. That's a better word. So I did get some good answers. Or some good suggestions. Oh, sorry. This one was talking about this question. I thought about what kind of textures they will want to see in an environment like this. And I was hoping to get a bit more. Some people did it good. Some people had some good suggestions, like brushed metal and plastic and stainless steel and fabric, and those things I thought were a good idea. But some people kind of were very, what's the word, basic, and just said metal. Well, I was hoping for a bit more. I was hoping for different types of metal maybe I could add. But I suppose maybe it wouldn't make that much of a difference, I suppose. But anyway, moving on. And at the end, I wanted to ask if people had any other ideas, if people had anything else that I could use to improve my idea. And most of the responses I got back was no, as in they thought that I already did a good idea and that there was nothing that could be moved about it, which I kind of took as a good sign in saying that I've thought through my idea well. I thought through my idea well, and that I've covered all the basics, if you will. Also, but some people did come up with some ideas like making a overhead concept of the room. So looking at the room facing down, and I thought about that. At first, I thought that'd be a good idea, as in to give me an idea of what the room of the space in the room. But I thought about it, and I thought, well, in with the prototype that I've made and the perspective sketches that I've done, I kind of feel like I already have a good idea of what the room or the space in the room should be, or what it should look like. Oh, sorry. So I'm not sure about that. I think I already have a pretty good idea of how the room should look, but I still think but I'll keep that in mind, because that was a good suggestion. And so the next thing to do, as I said before that unfortunately I didn't get the answer or the information I was hoping to get from the survey, or not so much I didn't get the answers I was hoping, but I was more curious, and more questions kind of arose from what people said, and I wanted to kind of better understand why they said certain things, or go into a bit more detail about why they think this would be a good idea. Why did they think? Why did they um, answer this? And so that's where the focus group comes in. And that's what I did yesterday. Got a focus group together. I did to talk about my ideas and go into a bit more detail. Um, um, at first, I felt it very difficult to think of questions for the focus group, and not think of questions that I've already asked. But I was trying, but I was thinking about it, and I wanted to, as I've already said, go into more detail, and so I was thinking to ask similar questions, but to ask them to elaborate on things and kind of add a bit more depth to each question. Well, that was my plan anyway. But then I remembered that I did the 2 point perspective sketch, the 2 point perspective sketches, and I've done the logo sketches as well. But I didn't include those things in my survey, so the vast majority of my class have not seen those things. So I was interested to get people's opinions on those things. And so those were some of the first questions I've asked. First question I asked, in part of this focus group, and I'm glad that I did ask about these things, because some people have raised a lot some good points. One good point would be that Thomas said that he felt like there was a lot of things in the office, or in my original sketch, or in this sketch, and that he felt like there would be too much for me to do, and there'd be as I said, giving myself too much work to do, and I have too much to do, basically. And I kind of not sympathized, but I understood what he was talking about, and I to a certain extent I did kind of agree with him. But this is something that I've been thinking for a while, and I've been thinking, oh, am I giving myself too much? But I do. Again, looking at the prototype that I've already made, I do feel like I can do it. I do feel like it is possible to do this model, I do feel confident that I can get it done. And I do feel nervous about starting the project, of course, because again, this is a brand new project, and it's something I've not done before. I've not made a room before. I've not made an environment before. So yes, I am nervous about it, but I do feel confident in my abilities to do it. But I have said, I did mention that if for whatever reason I'm not able to do it, or I don't feel like I can do it, um, that I will just model the main parts of the environment of the model. So that would probably just be that first sketch. That first top sketch would just be the chair, the back wall, um, or the desk, the chair, the window, and the door. Because those are the main features, if you will, of this model. So that was my backup plan, if you will. And Adam said that he liked uh, the color scheme of the office, which I was very happy to. Adam and Nathan both said they liked the color scheme, which I was very happy to know, because again, I feel like adding wood into an environment, something, and that a lot of people don't think about adding like natural textures or materials into an environment like this. It's all metal, and so I wanted to kind of break it up by adding a bit of color and adding different materials. So that's why I added. So I was really happy to see that people responded well to that, and that they liked the uh, the approach to adding wood into an environment like this. The next one was I asked about the logos, and and I asked which ones do people like the most. And in this case, the top logo was the winner. Uh, Mainly because of the bird logo on it, and this was the same reason why I chose it. I chose it for the same reasons, and because this was going to be my final. I chose this as my final logo that was going to go onto the front of the desk. And the main reason I chose it as well was because of the bird logo. I thought that looked really cool. Oh, and it seemed that most of my focus group thought the same thing. But one thing that somebody mentioned, which I thought was interesting, was that they said that the logo would be improved if I added like some land masses to. So the circle is supposed to be the world. It's supposed to be and somebody mentioned that if I added the landmarks or the continents, that it would look better. I didn't disagree with that, but I thought it was just an interesting assessment, if you will. And the main reason I didn't add it in the first place was because I didn't think I would do a good job. I didn't think that it would look very well, look very good, and plus I felt like the circle and the grid would do a good enough job of getting the point across that yes, this is supposed to be the world, but apparently not. Uh, so um, so yeah, that's something that I might change. I might update the logo a little bit and add a bit more detail, if you will. Because originally I was kind of happy to keep it this way, but if my audience agrees, and if my audience says that they would like it, they want to add a bit more want me to add a bit more detail to it, then yes, I will. Oh, so yeah, that's what I learnt from that, or what the information I got from that. The next one I wanted to talk about was the logo for the navy, or the ship. Yep. And I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to know what they thought about the logo, the navy logo. And the first thing that somebody mentioned was um, the first thing that was mentioned was how it probably wouldn't be a good idea to use the name of the Royal Navy for this fictional space navy. And I agreed with that, because again, I don't want to get into any legal problems or legal troubles, using that name. And so I think it would be better off. It would be a better idea if I just came up with a fictional name for this navy. And this, I was only gonna use the plan anyway was I was only gonna use the name of the Royal Navy as like a placeholder, so it wasn't supposed to stay. But yes, I do agree, and I am going to uh, change that, and I have to think of another name for this navy. But also, I wanted to know what people thought about my idea to use Welsh culture, Welsh heritage, to have the ship be a part of, to have the kind of the Welsh heritage angle to this model. Or because originally I was just going to have like a little, shall we say, it was going to be a small detail. It was just going to be like a picture on the desk of like the Welsh flag, and that was but I had the idea of, or maybe of having it be like having the ship be a part of like a Welsh unit in the army, and I thought that was a good idea, and I thought that would be a good way of working it into the model itself. And I wanted to get people's opinions on that. Um, People were very uh, what's the word I'm looking for? They found the idea very bizarre and very strange, that they hadn't kind of thought about it before. They hadn't considered something like that before, or have, and but Adam said that he thought that he thought it was a very interesting idea. I had to use um, Welsh mythology or Welsh folklore to name the ship, because that's why I used the name Beth Gellet there. That was supposed to be the name of the ship. Yep. Yep. And but a lot of people kind of found it. A lot of people in the group kind of found it strange for me to be using the navy as an example for a spaceship, and they found it very strange to add those two things together, the spaceships and the navy. Yeah, and I it was very and I had to try and explain what I meant, and explain the whole idea behind it. So, oh, and so this is all I've got so far. I did ask them other questions, and I haven't finished writing up about all the questions from the focus group yet. Um, but unfortunately, I didn't feel like I got the detailed answers, or that I was hoping for, that I was looking for, and I didn't feel like I felt like the information I got was very there were people did come up with good suggestions and did come up with good answers and answers that I have thought about. And a good example would be Thomas asked about the scale of the room, and again that was something I didn't think about. The scale. I want to make sure that each object looks the same or has the same scale, so that the one object isn't bigger than the other, or that it all looks natural basically, and nothing looks out of place. Sorry. Well, that's something I have to. So that's something I have to. So that is something that is a good piece of information that I will think about and I've taken into account. But for some questions, and I felt like I got very basic answers back. Like an example would be when I was trying to find out. The reason I was trying to find this out, when I was trying to find out about why people answered the why people like the post-apocalypse subgenre so much, and because I was interested to find out what was appealing to them about it, and because I've already mentioned I've had my kind of theory about it, the idea about how there's not so much technology around, and I wanted to understand um, why they found that appealing. But when I tried to get them to, they basically most of them said yes, they did like it, they did like that genre. But when I tried to ask them about specifically what did they like about it, they didn't really give me full answers. It was all kind of very one word answers, very basic, and I didn't really find that very useful. Oh, so that was a bit frustrating, and if I'm being honest, um, I do have a plan for how for to try and fix this. Trying to get more information, trying to get more information. So my plan. So I want to at least maybe get two more opinions about my. Maybe I won't go through every. Maybe I won't go through every question here like I have here, because maybe I should. Maybe that would be a good idea to do as well. But I want to at least get at two more people's opinions on my work, to and whether I didn't get the information I wanted, because I think the main reason I didn't get what I wanted, or the main reason I didn't get what I was looking for, was because in the way I asked these questions, maybe I didn't leave them enough room to answer them properly. Maybe I was the one being too basic, or not giving enough information, and but maybe I need to rethink about how I ask these questions in the future, so that I can get more interesting information from it, so that I can kind of get a better understanding. So that's my plan so far. I need to finish off writing about what I've learnt here, what the answers I got here, and then I want to try, as I said, I want to try and get at least two more people's opinions. I have some people in mind for who I want to ask, and I'm interested to find out their opinions about this. Um, So that's my plan for the focus group so far. And then once I'm done with the focus group, then I think because I think wow because I think once I finish with the focus group, because then I think I will move on to the target audience and move on to explain that get into a bit more detail about that. um oh wait, no, go back there. Then as I said, I can start talking about going into a bit more detail into the target audience for my project, and talk about the kind of people who would enjoy this kind of project. And then I can get started onto the secondary research. So that would be looking researching into the different genres of sci-fi, researching into maybe why it's so appealing to everyone, why it's so appealing, and then oh, and then I'll probably look into how I'm going to give the objects in my office that kind of sci-fi what's the word, twist, that sci-fi look to them. And I've already got some I've got ideas of different videos I can use to help me with that, tutorials I can use to help me. I mentioned this in my pitch, and my proposal, but I've got a book at home that goes over the genre of sci-fi and everything, and how to draw and paint how to draw and paint sci-fi art. Now, I've already done the sketches, so maybe, but it does hold a lot of information on on how it's all designed and why people like it and things like that. So I think maybe that would be a good source of research as well. Now moving on to the planning and project development of the page. So I did also, most of this work that I've done on this page, was the first work that I did on this site. And it was just me talking about the process that I went through when I making my sketches, talking about how I gathered my research, gathered my ideas, talking about where I got my inspiration from, talking about the perspective that I've been using, how I've used perspective. That reminds me. I need to add this into I need to make a tutorial section of the research page, so I can start adding videos and what I learned from those videos and how they helped me. So yes, I need to do that. That reminds me. Talked about the software that I've used and how it's helped me, the guides that I've used, and how using this perspective has been able to help me add more detail to the sketch and make it a bit more flesh it out a bit more. Talking about the logos again, talking about the inspiration, what inspired them, talking about my ideas, my various ideas, is for the other logos that I've come up with, that I've made. Something I added yesterday was these time lapse videos. So in Procreate on the iPad, when you're drawing, and it automatically records what you draw, and then when you can play it back later, and it's like a sped up version of you drawing, and so I thought it would be a good idea to add these things, add these videos in as well, so so you can see the entire process of how I created each sketch for the project. So yeah, that's that page. Now I haven't. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Now I haven't got added anything to the practical skills page yet because I haven't started modeling yet, which I am feeling a bit what's the word, panicked about. Oh, as I because I don't want to leave it too late. I don't want to have to rush to get this done. But at the same time, I also want to get all my written work done first, because that was my whole plan in my action plan, my timetable, my schedule, was that I created on my proposal, was that I wanted to. My ideal plan was to get all the research done, all the written work done first, and then so that I have as much time as possible to work on the project itself, the modeling, making the model itself. Of that is my plan, and so far, and I really, I hope to stick with it. I hope to stick with that plan, and but I think that means I need to maybe get a bit, no, not get a bit quicker, but need to, what's the word? Have a clear plan of what I oops have a clear plan of the what tasks I need to complete, and have a clear plan for each stage of the written work, of the project, of the site work, so that I can just work as efficiently as possible. Because I think that was kind of one of the issues that I had yesterday, was that I was kind of feeling a bit lost. Lost as in I didn't really know. I had so much to do and so many subjects to add. I didn't really know where to start. Or and so I was feeling a bit overwhelmed. But once I came up with the plan of doing the focus group, getting the focus group done, making the questions and getting the focus group done, I felt a lot better. I felt a lot more motivated. I felt a lot more confident. That's the word, confident, and because I finally had a direction to go in. And so I think as long as I keep up with that state of mind, that attitude, and that state of mind, as long as I always have a plan for what to do next, yeah, as long as I have a plan and I stick to that, I'll try my best to stick to that plan. Then I think I'll make quick progress with this project. Like, but yes, that's my initial plan. Is I want to get the written work finished first, and then I would ideally start modeling then. But at the same, as I said, don't want to leave it too late. So so I may so I may just finish the not practically the primary research, which the primary research. But if it takes too long, or if I, for whatever reason, and I may have to just start modeling anyway. Because, as I said, I've already said I don't want to fall behind on anything. Um, so yeah, that's those are my thoughts at the moment. Those are my plans. Um, and yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. That's all the developments that have happened over the last week. um, yeah, I can't really think of anything else. So I think that's I think done for now. Oh, so thank you.